The Indo-Pacific Economic Framework is officially launched. President Yoon Suk-yeol joined the ceremony via video conference and committed to creating a mutually beneficial supply chain in the region. Yoon Jungmin starts us off.
인도 태평양 지역의 공동 번영 시대를 열어가기 위해 함께 힘을 모읍시다. 한국도 굳건한 연대를 바탕으로 책임을 다해 나갈 것입니다.
South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol became one of the 13 inaugural members of the U.S.-led Indo-Pacific Economic Framework on Monday, along with leaders of Japan, India, and Australia. Joining the launch ceremony hosted by U.S. President Joe Biden in Japan by video link, President Yoon pledged to create a mutually beneficial supply chain in the region, particularly on chips, batteries, and future cars where South Korean technology excels. Although it's seen by many as an economic bloc meant to counter China's dominance, the South Korean leader said IPEF is not limited to a certain set of contents, but that it is an evolving entity which will establish new roles of commerce in the fastest growing part of the world. He also stressed in his speech that he hopes the IPEF seeks openness, transparency, and inclusiveness, as mentioned in the South Korea-U.S. joint statement this past weekend during President Biden's trip to Seoul. On his way to work on Monday morning, Mr. Yoon said the IPEF is no like a free trade agreement and explained why South Korea should take part in it.
이거는 인도 태평양 영내에서 경제 통상과 관련한 좀 광범위한 룰을 만들어 나가는 과정입니다. 그래서 거기에 우리가 당연히 참여를 해야 되는 것이고 그 룰을 만들어가는 과정에서 우리가 빠진다고 한다면은 국익에도 피해가 많이 갈 것입니다.
Experts say South Korea's participation in IPEF will enable Asia's fourth largest economy to reduce dependence on China, its biggest trading partner, by diversifying its supply chain and trade portfolio. And Seoul's top office says it doesn't expect any retaliatory action from China, as it's also part of the China-led RCEP, and since we live in a complementary world where there's no zero-sum game. Yoon Jungmin, Arirang News.